The building, photo on the right shows just as we were demolishing it. It's the photo I had available. But you can see the roof caving in. The whole building was left for dead by International Shoe. Finally, when I took over the property in total in around 2004, 2005, we immediately tried to determine what can we do with this building. Many at that time said it needed to be demolished, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to see if we could save it. Can you advance to the next one, please? Thank you. We decided the one way to save was we added floors, including steel and concrete decking. The first photo shows how we put new floors to create diaphragm stability to these silos for the first time in their history. There was extensive interior and exterior masonry wall tuck pointing. And you can see the efforts we made to try to save this building. Please go forward. An entirely new roof deck, new membrane installed. These improvements cost over $1 million. This is in 2006, 2007 dollars. Paid out of pocket, no public subsidies. It was the only way we could do this, where we would try to save this building. After that, we did annual maintenance thereafter as the building awaited a viable use. Couldn't really find a good use for it, but we knew maybe someday there would be. It made no sense, really, the investment from just the standpoint of the footprint of the building. It was not a large building, but I wanted to try to save it because I felt like it was important for the complex. So I did that. Please go forward. Now, this is the heartbreaking part. In April 2020, started in April 2020, major windstorm struck the entire Lemp Brewery. Several buildings were affected, including major roof damages all around the complex. Actually, several homes were damaged around the neighborhood. There were whole roofs, removed and onto the street. It was in the newspapers and everything. That was bad enough, and we determined that Building 20 was affected, but there was no outward appearance of that. But that was made clear when we had a second windstorm, which struck the building in July 2020, just a few months later. In that windstorm, Building 20 took a direct hit to the northwest corner, and that was eyewitnessed by one of our tenants in another building. And this is in July. And by early August, bricks began to peel off that northwest corner. Now, that's what the photo shows. You can see a few bricks sitting there, it's not a large picture, but there are a few cracks. The rest of the building was quite plumb. It was that corner there, and we started getting bricks peeling off. We knew, okay, definitely, although we couldn't see inside the brick, inside the walls, knew there was definitely a problem. So I immediately called, it's a company called Western Specialty Contractors, also known as Western Waterproofing. They're very big in this industry. I've used them before. I trusted them, and I immediately brought them over to assess the damage, try to repair this. Please move to the next one. Signed a contract with them August 14th to get the permits to begin the repair work. Now, of course, we're talking about 2020. I told them, hey, okay, we're here at 8:30 tomorrow morning. When can you start? They said, we can't even put you on the schedule for 6 to 8 weeks, even in an emergency situation. And they had, acute personnel shortages. This wasn't the type of work you could just get somebody off the street. It required very specialized work. And, I was hit with a dilemma of, do I change horses at that point? There were other companies, but they were in the same situation. I stuck with this company because, I knew them, and if I said no, went to another one, there was no guarantee they wouldn't do the same thing to me. Now, this was by mid-August. It was still, they were 6 to 8 weeks out. Then on Sunday, August 23rd, the northwest corner spontaneously failed, causing the entire west silo to collapse. Now, when I spoke to Western Waterproofing, they said that their main way of handling this would have been to remove any loose brick off of that corner and then wait until they get solid brick and then rebuild it. Now, On one hand, I wish they could. One hand, at the beginning, I thought, I wish they could start earlier. But then when this happened, it's quite possible that if they had tried to start removing bricks, those workers may have met their makers at that point. And so I don't look at it that I'm almost happy that they weren't able to show up to do this. And if this was going to happen at any time, I mean, it was not a matter of if, it was when. It happened at the best possible time. Nobody got hurt. We're very lucky that that was the case. So what we did, go to the next one, please. Spiritus Wrecking immediately hired them to clear the debris field from the street. It was all over the street. And to remove any hanging material from the structure. There was still a lot of structural, things hanging off, bricks hanging, the parts of the old floor, the floors that we painstakingly put in, parts of those were hanging. We did emergency demo of that. We also did emergency demo of the south exterior wall to create that stair step pattern, as you can see on the right, to reduce wind resistance. Now, the east silo, which is another one is the neighboring building, Building 21. That roof was badly damaged from this west silo collapse. Chunks fell onto that. That was quickly repaired to prevent further damage and rain exposure to Building 21. This was all done with emergency permits. And now, once we removed enough of that debris that we knew that there wasn't going to be any more debris falling, we stopped because just doing that caused a lot of disturbance. And we have the twin silo on the east side now that we have to worry about. We didn't want to disturb anymore. So we stopped, and despite the fact that it's unsightly, we didn't want to disturb anymore until we addressed the east side. Can you advance, please? All right, so these are the further actions taken in 21-22. As I mentioned, after sufficient debris was removed from the west silo, we looked to the east silo. We wanted to strengthen the east silo because it is the twin, and the same thing can happen there. So we created an anchor bolt design to structurally retrofit and strengthen all of the new floors that were put in. Just as it's a belt and suspenders approach. Before we did any further masonry work to the walls or corners of the building. We received a permit for that. And these are specialized parts, and it took a while to get it done. Also took a while even to get contractors to do it. But we completed that process toward the end, in November of 22. During that time, we also did quite a bit of work on the neighboring Building 21 and closed any masonry gaps that were there caused by the collapse between Building 20 and 21. One complicating factor is that Building 20, its wall, the south wall, is a shared wall with Building 21. So 21 doesn't actually have a wall on its north side. It is the south wall of Building 20. So we had to, basically tie that together, and so we completed that. Finally, that phase was completed in 2022 in November, and then our next stop was to do the masonry now on the outside. So we've paused that work, unfortunately, because of seasonal weather reasons. November 2022, not possible to do any further masonry work, so sweating it out, waiting for spring. Well, unfortunately, in December 2022, I don't know if you remember, but there was a deep freeze of an extremely long duration with a high precipitation to boot. It must have caused water to infiltrate into that band. And it wasn't so much the extremity of the temperature, how low it went. It was the duration of that temperature. And what it caused was a deep freeze inside the wall. That was not realized until the thawing, which occurred first week of January 2023. I don't know if you remember, but it was a very fast, very warm thaw, very quick thaw. That's when kind of all hell broke loose. Those bands that you see fell, that first band, a huge portion of that fell out. Several withes of brick, several layers of brick separated. And you can see on the right photo, it's leaning. it's actually separated out. The other problem was the interior masonry wall now was bowing inward. Now that's something that we did not see on the west side. Actually, I showed you that picture before where it fell down. The few bricks fell down on the right. On the west side, the interior wall was actually plumb. It wasn't too bad. In this case, the interior wall is starting to bow inward. So the next thing we did was to try to develop a, before we get to that side, that's okay, let's mention, we then got permits to see if we'd pin this thing back together again. Even that was a challenge. We weren't sure that was even possible because of the withes of brick that had bowed out. If any attempt was made to pin it, it may fall. Now, however, Mother Nature changed the situation again. In May of 2023, we had a massive storm, heavy windstorm, heavy rains, May of 2023. Those hanging withes of brick that had separated now collapsed during that storm. And actually, the brick that you see there is all another level of amount of brick that fell. In the picture on the left side, you see some bricks stacked. That's actually the first group of bricks. This is another group of bricks. And you can see now the interior wall that you can see the almost a cross section of it is just peeling off. There is a post there that it's actually leaning on. It's quite possible that post is carrying that part of that weight there. The photos on the right side are now showing that as soon as that second problem occurred, some rather large cracks on the interior wall and further bowing, significant additional bowing occurred. So that's what those show. Can you advance again, please? So now we're stuck with no contractor would want to touch this. In fact, I'm not sure I would even send them to do anything. It's like a game of Jenga. We're not quite, no one really knows. If you take something out, and this is the twin of the other side that did fall. But now let me explain this. We had to regroup, reevaluate. We needed a new strategy now. So it was calculated that the top 3 stories of the East Silo, which were actually an addition in 1887, they account for approximately over 70% of the weight at that first floor level. That arrow shows that I have a dotted line there. That dotted line is actually the level of one of the new floors that we had put in. Everything above that is actually the vast majority of weight. And by removing these upper floors, it would make shoring and repair safe and possible at the first floor. Now, interestingly enough, that band was the old parapet. And there is some traceable logic here as to bringing it down to that level, because that was what it was in the past. That's at least one consolation for us, that we have that. So removing these floors would make shoring possible, repair feasible, and much safer to do. Now that floor that we put in, that will not go to waste. That will now be the roof. That'll be the new. It actually is built heavier than the roof is built. We would now put sloped insulation and then create a new scupper, and then for the water to go. And now the floor itself will be the new roof. The remaining parts will be tuck pointed. The rest of the building will be board ups. And then after doing this, we can then turn our attention back to the west side to remove the debris, make it more, at least not look that unsightly. And then at some future time, possibly to rebuild that side to be a twin to this side now, which will be at that third floor level roof. Can you advance? All right, so now our next steps. We submitted a permit amendment to proceed with this new plan. This would involve that demolition. We have contractors ready to schedule this work, but it's pending approval of the permit. They will not put us on their schedule unless we have a permit. And now we're heading into winter. And, so we want to get this done as soon as possible. Now, one important thing to me was that we do this carefully, not the way that maybe like a lot of them do with the big wrecking ball. We do not want to do that. This will be done using lifts, done by hand, with hand tools, brick by brick. It'll be a slow process, not that slow, but 60 to 90 days, but it'll be in a controlled manner. And it also gives us the opportunity to save as many historic bricks as possible. When it's done in a controlled way, that's possible. If you do it in just to demolish the thing, it's very difficult to separate any bricks. We respectfully request approval of this permit so we can begin this needed work without further delay and to at least save part of this building. When that first collapse occurred, we basically saw an evaporation of $1 million of investment gone in one thing. But that's not what caused me any, the silver lining was nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt. And that's what meant the most to me. That's what allowed me to sleep at night. But now we can't tempt fate again, and I don't want to assume we're going to be that lucky again. This building's still standing, but we've been at this for several months now, going back and forth, trying to come up with a solution. And we've worked very well with the Cultural Resources Office. They've helped us. We've gone through the building many times. The building department has helped us. I have a.
We're trying to uphold your appeal.
Oh.
We're going to lose our quorum in about 4 minutes.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you. I've said my piece.
Thank you.
Questions, commissioners? Hearing none.
Oh, I have one, short one. Why the stepped up parapet instead of a straight cornice on the?
Are you talking about when we did the demolition?
For the new plan that I see.
Okay.
And be brief.
It's a lot easier to do it like that.
Okay.
Then we can put coping. Instead of a sloped coping, we put coping across. That will not really be seen from the street.
Okay.
Because you're going to.
Oh, that's the other wall.
The other
Okay.
side. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I thought about that too, yes.
Who's got a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board overturn the administrative denial for the partial demolition because of the severity of the building's demolition or condition.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call a roll. Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Aye.
Hammaker, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
The chair actually votes yes on this one, making it 5 ayes.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you.
appeal is upheld.
Thank you. He's a good owner.
Do we have any other business?
No.
Do we hear a motion to
Already
adjourn?
stood up.
I motion to adjourn.
Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned.